I didn't know how to do that. I didn't speak Spanish at the time. I didn't know anybody. We were in the middle of the jungle. I didn't know how to get out of where I was. And so while I was would gone for that walk, I kind of just accepted that this is what I have to do right now. This is my life right now, and I just need to survive it. I just need to get through it. And so I continued doing the hard labor, continued doing the work and everything, and just survived. So that I got there in January, and about the end of July, August comes around, and I'm like, and I'm still kind of having a hard time with everything, but now she's allowing me to go hang out with somebody, her son. And so I mean I was able to hang out with her daughter who was about my age as well. And very rarely like I would be able to go with her when we went to town, when we would go to the beach or do things like that. And I think that was kind of her way of softening what was going on. But so I I was at a position where I was able to go see her son. And it was like great, and he became a friend of mine. And so it was cool. I was like, okay, like this will be great. And it wasn't but a few weeks into that I realized that there was something more going on here. And she started pushing the idea, you guys should just start dating. You guys should just start seeing each other. And I was like, all right. I didn't really get it completely, but I was starting to feel something off. And so we started dating, and about 2 weeks after dating, it was about then that she started talking about marriage,
Whoa.
about how we should get married.
How old were
And
you then?
I was at that time,
You're 20 or
I was 19.
you're still 19? Oh,
Or, I'm sorry, I was 20. Sorry, I was 20 at
oh,
that time. Um, so yeah, I think about when my daughter was born. She was born when I was 21. So,
yeah.
yeah, I was 20 at that time. And so I just continued. I continued dating. The whole marriage thing came into the picture within a few weeks. And so him and I were like, okay, let's plan this then. If we're gonna do this, let's plan it. And so we were like, okay, so this happened. We started deciding to get married about the end of August. And so we were ironically, we were planning on getting married on June 9th, which happens to be my daughter's birthday. But we said, okay, let's June 9th, let's get married June 9th of next summer. And then she started, oh, why don't you get married now? I don't understand why you're waiting, and you love each other, and all these things. And so we both kind of just submitted to what she was asking of us. And so within about a week, we were married. And it just kind of everything kind of snowballed from there. It was about I was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant about 6 weeks after I got married. And my daughter was born June 9th. I had come back. She had allowed me, I say she had allowed me I told her, look, I want to have my child in the United States because I want a better healthcare system and everything. And I just feel more secure having my daughter in the United States. And she agreed. And I was like, yes, like finally I could leave. Like this is it. And so I was there from January of 2003 until April of 2004 is how long I was in Costa Rica at that point.
9 months. Wow.
Um, we had immediately, from the time we got married, immediately started working towards him getting his visa. And and that was hard. That was really difficult. It was expensive, and of course, she funded all of it. But unbeknownst to me, this was her dream come true. She was getting everything she wanted. So that we went through all that. He wasn't able to actually come to the United States until about the end of July. And even when he came back, we continued to play the part. Both of us did. And I don't think either one of us were actually in love with each other. I think we were both um, essentially manipulated into this end. And so we kind of tolerated each other, so to speak. So he was able to come in July, and I was living with her in the United States, so she still had that much control over me, or living in her home in the United States. And so we go down the road 6 years. We've had two children together. And then we end up in divorce. And that way, it wasn't a beautiful divorce. It was kind of rough. We both lost a lot, and we both got hurt a lot. And but I at that point I was working at the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department as a detention officer in the jail there. And after we'd gotten a divorce, I'd been in and out of women's shelters and living in with friends with my children. I was bouncing all over the place,
Mm.
just trying to find some stability from August when I left him till October. I had moved multiple times with my children. It was a really really rough time. Um, then at the end of October, in fact, it was October 31st that I was just getting ready to leave there. I friended everybody from the sheriff's department and police department, which was connected on Facebook. And and this included an individual who I had not actually met in person yet. And and him and I ended up connecting after I'd left the area, left Trinidad, and moved to Colorado Springs with my sister. And him and I, we connected, started talking for about 2 weeks or so, or a short period of time, and then we started dating. So I wasn't even divorced yet. I had been separated from the kid's dad for 2 months, and then I just jumped right into another relationship. Um, and I didn't think anything of it. For me, it was just a thing. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Now I'm dating this guy, and he's a police officer, so it's even better. He's a protector, and he's going to keep me safe. And
Right.
I know these guys, and they're wonderful and beautiful, and it wasn't what I thought it would be. So he and I started seeing each other. It was great for the first 2 years or so, and then trauma hit, like serious trauma. His dad dies from cancer. My son is about to pull in the driveway, so the dog is probably going to start barking. Just a warning. Um, I'm waiting for it. Okay. So his dad has cancer, and I've already developed a relationship with his dad, so we're close to. He dies in April of 2012.
Mhm.
And then we had to put our dog down around the same time frame. I think it was April. It might have been May. It was May 2012. We had to put our dog down in April after she had bit my son and his nephew, and it was like, okay, she's dangerous. So we had to go through that. Then we lost his dad from cancer. And then 2 months later, I was in a serious car accident where I was in the hospital for a few days. Long story short, his sister was upset about me wanting her mom to watch my kids as opposed to her doing it, and because their dad wouldn't. And so she committed suicide. And that happened while I was in the hospital. She was a close friend of mine, so it was just one thing after another. It was like boom, 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 just this constant flow of trauma happening. And so because that was kind of the catalyst in her deciding that she was going to end it all, then all of a sudden I became the bad person. I was the one that caused this, even though I didn't say anything to her, have any connection to the argument she had with her mom or anything like that. Um, I was the problem. And so my boyfriend at the time, without telling me, was resented me. He was angry at me. I was the cause of his sister committing suicide and all these things, and he spiraled very, very badly.
He,
I mean,
he,
he wasn't
accused
great
you.
before.
You say he accused you. He blamed you.
Yes, and he told me this later. This wasn't something he told me at the time. This is all stuff he disclosed to me later. Um, but things spiraled. He started to become more aggressive and violent. He started treating me pretty poorly. When I was in the car accident, I had broke both bones in my leg, my tibia and my fibula, and and I didn't know he was doing this, but he was taking my pain medications and giving me placebos. And so I couldn't figure out like, gosh, why is this pain not going away? It was so horrible. I'll never forget how much pain I was in. It was so bad. And this was something else he also disclosed to me later. He had done that more than one occasion when I had my wisdom teeth pulled, and there was a few moments where I was on pain medications that he was actually taking them from me
Wow.
and giving me something different. But yeah, I didn't know it at the time. I just thought maybe it just doesn't work for me. And he would tell me, yeah, this happens to my dad too. And he went through this too, where pain medications didn't work for him. So I believed him. It's naive. I thought, okay, you must be right. And the doctor stopped giving me pain medications because they thought I was drug seeking, when
Right.
really I was in legit an immense amount of pain. And it was my partner who's taking the medicine. But anyway, go down the road. He had disclosed to me later while we were in the cult, which I'll get to, that he was cheating on me during that time. So he was cheating on me with multiple different women, including my best friend, which um, that was a really tough one for me. But he had only told me two women, but after I had gotten out of the cult later, one of the women that he had a relationship with um, asked to go to lunch with me, and she told me all about it. So I don't know exactly how many women he was with at that time, but he did. And then about November of that year, so we're about 2 months, 3 months from that car accident and his sister committing suicide. We get into a fight. There's a lot of drinking involved too. He's smoking marijuana. He's doing drugs. Like there's all these things going on, and just a lot of drinking. And it was so bad. I would have to hide alcohol from him, like, because he would buy an 18 pack, and I knew he wasn't going to stop until he drank every bit of it. So my best friend, who was cheating with her, she and I would take alcohol as he was drinking it and hide it, so he wouldn't know so he would think that he was drinking it as opposed to him drinking all of it.
Hmm.
So I would have alcohol all over the house, just he didn't know about it. Um, but one night he was drinking pretty heavily, and we got into an argument about something. I can't even remember what it was. I was at the computer at the time, and he came into the room and he had his shotgun, and he cornered me in the room and he put it up to my face. And at that time I was like, please, like, just I will leave. I will go right now. Just let me get my kids and let me go. I will go. Like, just please don't do this.
Wow.
And I just pleading with my life. And he he at some point, I felt like it lasted forever and pleading for my life. But at some point he went and laid down on the bed and he put the shotgun in his mouth. And I was like, oh my God, I was like, I can't watch this. And I walked out and I got down the hall on it about 15 feet, and shotgun goes off. And I just freeze and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to find? I had no idea what to expect. I just felt all the blood drain from my body and I just felt cold, and I just didn't know what was going to happen. And no, I didn't hear anything. I couldn't hear any noise or anything. And so I slowly made my way to the room, and I go open the door, and he's standing by the window with the window open. He had shot the shotgun outside and told me I had to release the round. And
Wow.
I, it was so horrifically traumatic, that moment. And what was crazy about it is I didn't remember this happening until after the cult, which I'm going to get into next. He decided to go to AA, start going to AA and get therapy and all these things. The police department had decided to medically retire him, that he was not psychologically healthy. So somebody had called the police when that happened. It wasn't me. The police showed up at our house. Um, I was protecting him. I was going to protect him. And they knew that I was protecting him. There was no doubt. Uh,
Hmm.
and so because I was protecting him, there was nothing they could do. But when they came in, they saw he had all his guns sprawled out on the bedroom floor in another bedroom that was next to ours. And so they knew there was just no doubt. And one of the officers came in and told me, you really should leave him. Yeah, he recommended you to leave. And he goes, I've seen situations like this and it never ends well. And I just wasn't convinced of it. And I was just like, you know what, he's hurting. Like that's I justified it in my own mind. And I also felt guilty. I felt this immense sense of guilt that I was responsible in large part for the pain that he was going through. So I carried that with me, and I felt like if I left him, then I would hurt him more, which I didn't want to be responsible for that. No matter what he was doing, no matter what the domestic violence situation was, no matter what, I was willing to take the abuse if that meant him being happy. And I just didn't know. I didn't understand, I guess, at the time. But so time goes on. Several months down the road, he goes through AA. But during that time, he meets a girl in AA, ends up having an affair with her, uh, and that comes out of it and everything. And he introduces me. We go for a ride in the truck with her and everything. And that I'm none the wiser. I have no idea that he's sleeping with this girl. And it was just it blows my mind, my level of just disconnection from the reality that I was actually living at the time. But so it was about, I want to say it was about March of that year that we decided that we were going to move closer to his mom. And so we packed up everything, we left, and it was at that time where I had I had kind of just fallen apart at that point. I didn't really feel like I kind of just felt like my life was worthless. I had nothing to live for. I mean, even my kids in my mind were not enough. It was just I didn't feel like I was giving them the best life they could have. I didn't know how to give myself the best life I could have. Um, And and he and I got into another argument and he left. And so when he left, I took a handful of pills. I was given antidepressants and Xanax and all kinds of stuff by that point. And I took a handful of pills and I took them. And and then I called the suicide hotline and I was like, I took all these pills. If you get here in time, you do. If you don't, you don't. But that's what I did. And and at some point the ambulance arrives and they take me away and they pump my stomach, they do blood tests and everything. And then they come back and tell me, we didn't find any of that in your system. And I'm like, how's that possible? Well, it was because he was giving me placebos with that too. So he was taking those medications as well and kind
Wow.
of yeah, anything that he could take to get high is what he was doing.
Wow.
So in a way, he probably saved my life, but then would that have happened if he had been doing that in the beginning? I don't know. Anyhow, so I was admitted and I was there for about 3 days and I did say he met this girl in Alcoholics Anonymous. No, when he threatened to kill himself with the gun, he actually was taken to mental health treatment at that point, and he stayed there for 2 weeks. That is where he met her. Not that it wasn't, and it was when he started seeking treatment through Alcoholics Anonymous that I met her, and so I just wanted to clarify that. Um, but so I was now in treatment. I was now getting mental health help. But I couldn't stay because he couldn't handle taking care of the kids, and the kids' dad was basically absent out of their lives for the most part. And he just couldn't do it on his own. So he asked me to come back, and so I did.
Mm.
Um, so a few months passed by, and I'm just constantly immersed in the internet, just in it all the time. I needed answers, I needed clarity, I needed something, anything to help myself. And I come across a video that is like, it's compelling. It's a great video. Wow, like this is really wild. And at the very end of the video, there's a website and it was the two witnesses, right? I don't know if you've heard of the two witnesses in the book of Revelations and everything, and growing up in a Baptist setting and then being also mixed with a Pentecostal and everything. They're very heavy into end times everything. Everything is about the end times. So I saw this and I was like, this makes sense. Everything is crazy right now. And what it really was is my life was crazy. But
Right.
I projected that into the world that I saw outside of me. And so for me, it was like everything's crazy, everything's falling apart. This must be the end times. And now they're here and now I've got to fix it. And so I go to their website and I'm reading it and I'm getting into it and everything. And I tell my partner about it and you're crazy. This isn't true. And so he wasn't on board right away. But I message these people and I'm telling them that I haven't had any correspondence with them. This is in June. I haven't had any correspondence with these people at all, but I message them anyways. And I tell them, yeah, I want my boyfriend to get involved in this, or he was my fiance at that point. I want him to get involved in this and understand and see and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'll pray St. Michael will help or whatever I told him. I wish I still had that email. I don't. But then it was literally the next day after I had sent that email that I wake up, it's like 5 in the morning, and he's sitting at the computer watching their videos. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a sign. So you can understand how that spirals down. Now all of a sudden it's like this must be real. It must be true because this happened. And so I'm seeing these synchronicities and stuff because I was looking for them, let's be honest.
Right.
But I'm seeing these things and so but now he is completely extreme now. I got the holy water and I did this and I did that and I did the prayers and everything and now we're saved again, so to speak. So now we're chasing after salvation again. Um, so we started going through their website and we started getting rid of things. We got rid of our television. We got rid of our kids went through, got rid of all their bad toys. We got rid of certain colored clothing items. We got rid of so many different things. We just because we wanted to do what they said we needed to do in order to in order to do the right thing, in order to
Did they say that was because of the end times coming, so you gotta get rid of everything, or
well, by that time they had said that everybody received the mark of the beast and that the only way to get it removed was by doing these steps and all these things. And so we did it. And so that we just kind of did what they said we needed to do, but we hadn't corresponded with them at all.
Mhm.
It wasn't until the end of November, I believe, maybe October, but I'm pretty sure it was November, that they finally responded to us. And so we go from June to November where this is all we're doing it ourselves.
Mhm.
Like, well, if we miss the train, we miss the train, but can't say we didn't try, right? So we were already heavily invested in this website and the things they were teaching and everything. So by the time they got a hold of us, for us, it was Jesus contacting us. Like it was directly from heaven. Like, oh my gosh, the excitement we felt, and from that point, I have all the emails that we shared, except for the ones that they had between him and them. But I have all the emails from when we were messaging them together and then from when we had to separate our email, they told us it was best for us to separate because they needed to provide guidance separately. So we did that, and then that's when it stopped being a group email, except for when we were doing tasks for them. So, but you could see, I've looked at it and it's like, wow, you can see the progression of control, how slowly and subtly it happened.
Mhm.
And we just handed it to them because we were so desperate for some stability, for some structure, for anything, for our lives to just calm down. And it was during this time that he disclosed to me that he had taken all those drugs, that he had been giving me placebos, that he had cheated on me, that he hated me for his sister's suicide, and there was just so many things that he had told me, and I have to ask you for forgiveness and everything. The domestic violence, the things that happened in between, it was pretty ugly. There was a lot of ugliness in there, which could be seen in my story. But then there was now this thing. And we thought it was the answer. Got my kids involved and we tried to get everybody we loved involved and we're spreading it and we're talking about it and we're trying to tell everybody about it. And then they ask us, hey, can you write a testimonial about how this has changed your life or something? And so I write it and I send it to them and they're like, not quite like that. And I'm like, okay, like I didn't understand what was wrong with what I had said. But then they said, well, what we really wanted to ask, and we were just kind of testing the waters, is if you do a video about it. We're like, okay, like we could do that, no problem. Like, absolutely. Like we're really invested in this. So we did. And so we do the video and they send it back. I do video and they send it back and it's you need to not be so much like this and you need to be more like this. So we're like, okay, I could do that. I understand, I can change up a little bit. And after several back and forths, I finally get the video they like and they post it on their YouTube channel. And for me, I was like, yes, I made it. Like this is perfect. And then my kids and then him and so we're all excited and so then from there it progressed into making more videos. Can you make more videos about your experiences with the testimony that we have online? So we did. And so this went on for a long time. And then they started asking us to make propaganda videos, which we did. We started getting all this propaganda going on and we were the first followers, really. We were the first people that they got to follow them. And through all this propaganda and everything, these articles that we put out dozens of articles, dozens of videos that have garnered tens of millions of views between all of them. There were people coming from left and right. We had people contacting us and everything. Don't talk to them though. We were not allowed to talk to them. They had to find their email to talk to them directly.
Mm.
So we were not to talk to them at that time. Um, it was very strict. Our interactions with each other were extremely strict. I remember how excited we were when the first people got on board and everything, and it progressed from there. And then it progressed to absolute control. Like at first, we were just ourselves, and there were simple things like you should probably not wear makeup, and you should probably don't braid your hair because it looks like snake scales, and that's not good either. And
Wow.
so there was just these little things that started taking control over our lives. And then it progressed to the way we dressed. You should wear polos in your videos, and you should wear khaki jeans, and you should so now there was a dress code, and then now women need to have their hair short. So we had to cut our hair short, and so there were these little things of control that were happening, and then it progressed to my 8-year-old son was evil, and at that time they had now come up with this new mark, which was the mark of Cain. And so now my son received the mark of Cain. He was evil, and we had to get rid of him. We had to figure something out. And so I contacted his dad and was like, "Hey, he doesn't want to be here, and we don't allow video games here, and we don't have television here or anything like that. He wants to have those things. Can he live with you?" And so they were like, "Yeah, of course. Let him come here." And that resulted in me not seeing my him for I didn't see him for over 2 years.
Wow.
Um, and he was only 8 years old, but these people had us well convinced that he was evil. And then they had us convinced that our animals were evil now, and because they could have demons in them. And so when our German Shepherd had died, they instructed us that we needed to get rid of our other German Shepherd, who was younger, and it was just this constant progression of control. They told us what if we wanted to buy a camera, run it past them, make sure we buy the right one, and or what we ate. Then it was what we ate. No more red meat, no more. It was just chicken and fish. That was the best thing, and rice, and it just kind of almost a very bland diet, almost. And vegetables. I mean, it's not the most unhealthy diet. I'm not going to lie.
Right.
So I imagine a lot of the instructions they gave us came from somewhere else. It wasn't just some divine revelation that they received, but in our mind, it was like God is telling them these things.
And
Um,
you said that it's called the two witnesses, right?
that's what they called themselves. Yes.